Good morning, 32nd Sunday of Ordinary Time, and we read the Gospel of Mark. As he taught, he said, "Beware of the scribes who like to walk around in long robes and to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces, and to have the best seats in the synagogues and places of honor at banquets. They devour widows' houses and, for the sake of appearance, say long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation." He sat down opposite to the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more money than all those who are contributing to the treasury, for all of them have contributed out of their abundance. But she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on." A widow of Jerusalem, invisible to almost everyone but not to God, leaves us 3 lessons for life. First, how do I look at others and how do I look at myself? We all experience the tendency to quickly judge others by what we observe from the outside, from appearances. To complete internally in our minds the information that from the outside we think we lack is a very human ability. We see it in art. A painting, a sculpture, is not only what the painter or sculptor has made, it's also what the observer interprets when looking at it. The same with music. The movement of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony can arouse very different sensations and thoughts depending on who listens to it and the vital moment in which he listens to it. In a certain way, we are configured to complete internally the invisible part of reality that we don't see. And just as this has its advantages, in art for example, it also has its risks, because we can fall into quick and hasty judgments. We can jump into conclusions with the very few elements that we observe from reality or from others. And our minds is not 100% reliable. Sometimes it makes mistakes, both with others and with ourselves, with the way we judge ourselves. Perhaps we are too hard on ourselves, seeing only our past mistakes and not the good things that have also sprung from our heart. Going to today's Gospel, if we see only what the widow has contributed to the treasury, it's so insignificant that we can jump into the conclusion, judging by the appearance, that she is greedy, ungenerous, stingy, mean, and make up a movie in our head that has nothing to do with the reality of the poor old woman. We don't know her life, her context, her reality. We don't have a totalizing vision of her daily life to be able to make an accurate judgment. The other day, a friend of mine posted on Facebook a phrase that I like very much. The phrase said, "A wise man once said nothing." Indeed, silence is very wise. The second reflection has to do with the morality of the human act. In the Temple of Jerusalem, in the court of the women, there were some metallic receptacles in the form of trumpets that were used to throw the coins. The rich, the scribes, the Pharisees threw many coins so that the metal of the coins would make the trumpet sound loudly and everyone around would see how good and generous they were. They did it not out of sincere love for God, but with the intention of being seen and admired by others. The act they performed in itself was good, but their intention wasn't. It was corrupted by vanity. From a moral point of view, to do something good but with a vitiated intention invalidates the whole act. If I do something that in itself is good but with a bad intention, my act is bad from a moral point of view. The case of the widow is very different. At the time of Jesus, in the Jewish world, only men inherited, so widows were very unprotected people. This widow in particular threw leptas in those trumpets of the temple. The leptas were coins of very small size, which would hardly be heard when falling into the metal receptacles. She put 2 leptas, 1 quadrant. To give us an idea, approximately 64 quadrants would constitute 1 denarius, or a day's salary for a worker. Using modern equivalencies with the United States, if a worker earned a daily salary of $64, the woman would be giving barely the equivalent of $1. And the third reflection, the old woman was invisible to the eyes of men, but not to the eyes of God. Almost 2,000 years before the birth of Christ, a woman of Egyptian origin named Hagar, the slave with whom Abraham conceived Ismael, saw her life sink when she and her son Ismael, accused by Sarah, Abraham's wife, were driven to wander in the wilderness. Feeling small, invisible to the world and abandoned, Hagar cried out to God for help. When God comforted her, the woman called God Adonai El Roi, the God who sees me. Hagar felt seen and known by God. This widow didn't go unnoticed by Jesus. She was seen and known. Jesus teaches me how to look at others, to put on his glasses, to see beyond appearances. Benedict XVI, in his encyclical Deus Caritas Est, God is Love, invites us to have a heart that sees, to see like Jesus. If only God would give me that grace, the grace to see others through his loving eyes. No one had noticed that widow, but Jesus did. Maybe in my life I do many good things and no one sees me, no one thanks me, as if I go unnoticed, or even misinterpret my actions. And maybe this silence, this ingratitude, or this blindness of others generates in me sadness, anger, frustration, or resentment in my heart. But here is the wonderful thing that Jesus shows us. He does see. He does see me. Jesus, the El Roi, is the God who sees me. He sees my heart, my intention, my actions, and he values them. And in that action, which perhaps goes unnoticed like the widow's coins, I have encountered God. And as Saint Teresa of Avila writes, God alone is enough. God bless you.